Okay, you guys are all just like really misogynistic.
How do you define misogyny? What? I'm just asking how you define misogyny.
Can I go?
Are you okay? Like, do you want to go as in leave? If you want to leave, you can leave. I was hoping we could continue having a conversation, but
Let it go.
okay. I mean,
Imagine tossing a word around and not even knowing its meaning. Ever heard of the term misogyny? What comes to mind? Misogyny. Derived from the Greek words misos, meaning hatred, and gyne, meaning woman. It's a term that's been circulating around our society for quite some time now. It refers to the deep-seated hatred, dislike, or mistrust of women that often manifests in the form of discrimination, violence, and other forms of harmful behavior. However, in recent years we've seen this term being thrown around with such frequency that it's beginning to lose its potency. It's become a buzzword, a catchphrase, a quick-fire insult to shut down a conversation or to vilify someone. It's being used without pause, without thought, and often without a clear understanding of its true meaning and implications. And this misuse, this casual tossing around of the term, is causing a great deal of confusion. It's diluting the seriousness of the issue it represents, and it's causing people to become desensitized. It's turning a term that should make us stop, think, and evaluate into just another word in a sea of words. Now let's take a look at an incident where misuse of the term misogyny caused quite a stir. Here's an example of what happens when words are used without understanding, when accusations are made without basis, and when adults choose to act like children in the face of a challenge. Picture this, a heated conversation between Brian from whatever podcast and a self-proclaimed feminist. Things take an unexpected turn. They're discussing gender dynamics, the discourse is heated, and the atmosphere is tense. Suddenly, the feminist, in a fit of frustration, labels Brian a misogynist. Brian, taken aback, asks her to define the term. You'd expect a well-reasoned response, right? But no. Here's where the plot thickens. Instead of providing a definition, she stumbles, fumbles with her words, and fails to give a clear explanation of what misogyny truly means. Surprising, isn't it, to use a term so freely yet struggle to define it? It's almost as if she's flinging words without understanding their weight, their implications. She's over 21, an adult by all standards, yet her reaction is reminiscent of a 6-year-old child caught off guard, ill-prepared for a question she didn't anticipate. The situation escalates quickly. Instead of acknowledging her lack of knowledge, she breaks down, her emotions taking the reins. She's crying, the conversation has taken a toll on her. She's asking to go home, to withdraw from the discussion that she herself instigated. One can't help but wonder, was she prepared for such a debate? Was she aware of the gravity of the words she was throwing around? Or was she simply caught in the heat of the moment, resorting to name-calling without considering the consequences? You see, when you start labeling people, hurling insults without a second thought, you shouldn't be taken aback when you're asked to justify your claims. It's only fair. After all, every accusation warrants an explanation, doesn't it? This incident raises an array of questions. It sheds light on the importance of understanding the words we use, the accusations we make, and the impact they can have. It's a stark reminder that words carry weight, that they can stir emotions and ignite debates. How should one react when confronted with such a situation? Let's dive into that. Emotions ran high, tears were shed, and the conversation abruptly ended. But why? Let's break down the situation here. The feminist in the conversation was clearly upset, but the question is, was her emotional response justified, or was it an overreaction to a simple request for clarification? Here we had an adult, supposedly well-versed in the subject matter she was discussing. But when asked to define a term she freely used to label another person, she was unable to do so. Instead of providing a definition, she became emotional and asked to leave. It's worth considering why she couldn't, or perhaps chose not to, define misogyny. Was it because she didn't know the meaning? If that's the case, it's concerning. Throwing around terms without understanding their implications can lead to misunderstandings, and in this case it led to an accusation. Or was it because she felt overwhelmed by the situation? It's possible that she was so focused on her narrative that she didn't anticipate being asked to explain her reasoning. It's a reminder that in any discussion, it's crucial to not just have a point of view, but also to understand and articulate the reasoning behind it. The emotional breakdown could also be seen as a defense mechanism. Unable to provide a valid definition, she may have felt cornered, and chose to deflect the conversation by becoming emotional. This, however, isn't an effective strategy. It not only shifts the focus from the topic at hand, but also undermines the credibility of the person resorting to such tactics. This incident has repercussions on the podcast and its audience as well. It not only disrupts the flow of conversation but also leaves the audience with a sense of unfinished business. It's a stark reminder that mature discussions require maturity, understanding, and the ability to handle difficult questions. This incident raises some important questions about the use and understanding of terms like misogyny. It's a call to all of us to ensure we fully comprehend the concepts and terminology we use in our conversations and to be prepared to back up our statements with solid reasoning. In the wake of such an incident, what are we left to ponder? Quite a lot, actually. Let's take a moment to reflect on what transpired and its potential implications. Firstly, let's consider Brian. He was confronted with a serious accusation. Being called a misogynist isn't something to be taken lightly. It's a term that carries a lot of weight, a lot of negative connotations. But when he asked for clarification, for an explanation, he was met with tears and a plea to go home. It's a situation that leaves one in a state of bewilderment. Now let's shift our focus to the listeners, the spectators of this incident. They witnessed an adult conversation spiraling into a playground squabble. It's a stark reminder of how quickly a discussion can descend into chaos when participants are ill-equipped to engage in it. The incident also sheds light on the importance of understanding and correctly using terms like misogyny. It's a powerful word, one that should not be used carelessly. It can cause harm, sow discord, and create misunderstandings. It's crucial, therefore, to be certain of its meaning before we use it, to ensure we're communicating effectively and respectfully. This incident also underscores the critical need for respectful and informed discussions. Disagreements are a part of life, and it's perfectly fine to have differing opinions. However, it's how we express these disagreements that truly matters. It's important to engage in conversations with an open mind, to listen, to learn, and to respect the other person's viewpoint. Name-calling and insults do nothing but breed animosity and create a hostile environment. In the end, it all boils down to one fundamental truth: misunderstandings and misuse of terms can lead to unnecessary conflicts. It's a lesson we all can learn from. It's a reminder to strive for better, more informed, and respectful conversations. After all, isn't that what we all aim for? So, what's the takeaway from this incident? Let's take a moment to reflect on the events that unfolded. It's clear that we have a situation where an adult, who should have a basic grasp of decent conversation etiquette, regressed into what can only be described as a childish temperament. When faced with an opinion or a statement that didn't align with her own, she resorted to name-calling, a behavior far removed from the mature discourse we'd expect from someone of her age. The word misogynist was thrown around with little understanding of its definition, its implications, or the gravity it carries in our society. It's a term that shouldn't be used lightly or as a tool to shut down conversations simply because they are uncomfortable or challenging. However, when asked to define the very term she used as an accusation, she was unable to do so, leading to an emotional response rather than a rational one. This incident underscores the importance of understanding the terms we use, especially when they carry significant societal implications like misogyny. It's not enough to parrot phrases we hear or read, particularly when engaging in discussions that demand a certain level of intellectual rigor and emotional maturity. It's crucial to remember that words have power. They shape our understanding, our conversations, and ultimately, our relationships with others. When we use words thoughtlessly, we risk not only miscommunication but also the potential to harm or offend others. This is why it's vital to take the time to educate ourselves about the words we use. We need to understand their meanings, their context, and the impact they can have. Let's not forget that when we start name-calling and insulting others, we should be prepared for them to ask us to justify our accusations. If we can't, it's a clear sign that we need to reevaluate our choice of words and perhaps our approach to discussions altogether. In conclusion, this incident serves as a reminder for all of us. It's a call to be more mindful of our words, to strive for understanding before throwing around accusations, and to respect the power of language in shaping our interactions with others. Next time you engage in a discussion, remember, it's not just about the words you use, but also understanding their meanings. Until then, keep learning, keep growing,